entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and get the drum rolls ready. You know what? We're on Abundant TV as well, which is pretty cool. Abundant TV, you can also find us on Apple, let's see, on Roku, by the way, and Apple TV and Amazon Fire. And want to thank Rob Patz for making this happen. So again, thank you so much for being with us. Now, the rest of the week is going to be another busy week. On Friday, we have a ribbon cutting. This will be at Twin City Used Car Sales with Bobby Ledbetter. And then we'll be talking also with Don Hunton, and he is with the Lookout Mountain Cowboy Church. On Thursday, Rob Patz will be with us. We're excited about that. Susie Stover, who is an interior designer with Ethan Allen, will be with us at 2. On Wednesday, tomorrow's show will be, on Wednesday, we'll be talking with Andy Kirkendall. He has his own talk show. We'll be talking with him. Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey with Alabama Fair Tax on Wednesday. Loretta Roger with Cove Crafters will be with us at 2:30 on Wednesday. Tuesday will be no show. I will be working at the voting poll, so I'm really excited about that, which is pretty cool as well. And also today at 2:30 we'll be talking with Philip Gilliland, who's with the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches. And also 3 o'clock I'll be talking with Robin Lideker. She's also running for a Public Service Commission Place 2. John Merrill, our Alabama Secretary of State, will be with us coming up at 2 o'clock. But right now I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Sherry Hyde, and she is the Executive Director with Family Services of North Alabama. Hey, Sherry, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
Well, doing pretty good. We've had a lot going on here at the station. We're growing.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, and with growth comes, like, did I do it right? You always have that going on.
Yes, absolutely.
But you guys are doing so many awesome things in the community, and I just want to thank you for being the very first guest that we have here with a new station.
What an honor.
Well,
you could choose anybody in the world, and I just am so grateful to always talk to you, but especially in this capacity. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. We just got a whole lot of folks working with us. Rob Patz, thank you so much. Now, you guys have really made a difference in the community. So let's talk a little bit about Family Services of North Alabama and what you guys do.
Well, so Family Services in North Alabama, we have, now I want to say, this new structure has come within the past few months. Used to, we would tell people everything that we did, but we have like 6 or 7 different programs, and people would be forgetting what we did after we talked about number 2, So in the past few months, we decided to restructure. And what we did was we decided to have all of our services fall under 2 different programs. One is workforce development education, and then the other is victim services and prevention. And I think that's a lot easier to remember, right? So anytime we add a different service, it's going to fall under those 2 programs. So under the workforce development education program, we help people find jobs. We help them find careers. We can pay for certification classes like phlebotomy, medical assistant, CDL, welding. We can pay for GED classes. We can help get people's license reinstated. And those things are really, really big deals. We do parenting classes. So that's sort of, in a nutshell, the Workforce Development Education Program. Under the Victim Services and Prevention Program, we work with victims 14 and up. We do forensic exams for those who have been sexually assaulted. We work with human trafficking victims and survivors. We do advocacy, and we also do prevention education, because we don't want to just treat the issue. We want to help prevent it as well. So that, in a nutshell, is Family Services in North Alabama.
And that's a lot. Now, Sherry and I go back a long way. We've been friends for a very long time.
Yes.
And I was working at a Fort Payne station, I think, when I got acquainted with you. So I have seen so many plus things happen for this community because of you guys at Family Services in North Alabama. So let's talk just for a minute about workforce development, because this is what we're hearing. We're hearing jobs are everywhere. Jobs are not scarce, but people are. And so this is something you're doing for folks in the community. Maybe they've been in a little trouble before, but they've decided to turn their lives around. So this is a huge advantage to this community, as well as the person who's looking for a job. So what can you do for folks?
Well, I will say this, and this is something that I kind of want to toot our own horn a little bit. I don't do that too often, but I do in this area, because it was so life-changing to so many people. we were the first in the state of Alabama to do what we call expungement clinics. And we teamed up with Legal Services of Alabama because in 2020, Governor Ivey signed what we call the Redeemer Act. The Redeemer Act allows for those who have some nonviolent felonies or misdemeanors to have their records expunged with no court costs. And so that is a really big deal because you'll find a lot of people they're falling more and more behind because they're having to not just make a living and pay rent or pay a mortgage and raise children, but they're also having to pay on these fines. And some of these fines that we have found were from like 30 and 40 years ago. We came in contact with several people that said, I had weed in my car when I was 19 and they're 65 now. And that nonviolent felony has been on their record for that long. And it prevents them from getting a good job. It prevents them from getting a good housing, and which also in turn affects their whole family and their children. So we were very grateful to team up with Legal Services of Alabama. We called it the Road to Redemption, and they were expungement clinics. In Marshall County, that was the first one in the state of Alabama. It was going to start at 10 that morning. By 9 o'clock, we had 20-something people lined up at the door. We saw, I think it was 45 that day. And then the next Friday, we had one in Fort Payne. And again, by 9 o'clock, we had 20-something people waiting at the door. We saw around 45 that day as well. So in total, we had a little over 90 people who had their records expunged, which really means their children can have better housing now, which means they get to see their parent make a lot more money now because they have their choice of better jobs. So that meant a lot to us to be able to do that. And now they're happening all around the state of Alabama. But we were very grateful to be on the front end of that. And we got to do the first two in the state.
Well, I think that's pretty awesome. And just the name redemption, redeeming, I mean, that means a lot. You're a Christian, I'm a Christian. And
Yes,
that's what
ma'am.
it's all about is redeeming. I mean, a lot of us can make bad mistakes, and
Oh,
but
yeah.
there is a redeemer out there. And then you guys are actually you're putting boots on the ground about it for this area. We definitely
It,
appreciate that.
it is such a privilege to, I know certainly I have had many, many moments, more than I want to even admit, of feeling hopeless because of things that I got myself into. And by the grace of God, I get to do what I do now. But certainly people have extended grace to me. And so it's a wonderful honor to be able to see those who are feeling like they're at the bottom of the barrel and we get to extend a hand. And I think it's a really neat thing that the law that she signed that passed was called the Redeemer Act. And I was like, how fitting is that? So yeah, the Workforce Development Education Program has it's been a really neat thing. There's one program that works with parents or relative custodians, and we can, provide a lot of different things that they need, whether it be a housing deposit or whatever. We get to do that. We get to see people who are on government assistance come off of that. And our goal is to not just find them a job, we want to find them a career. So that's why we're able to pay for things like phlebotomy and medical assistance and welding. And I mean, you have some welders that are making six figures. And so to see someone who says, yeah, I want to do that, but I can't afford to get that certification. And we get to say, we can pay for it. And then all of a sudden their whole life changes, so it's a neat thing. And we are very grateful to be able to do this work.
It does, and then also talking with Northeast Alabama community colleges and some of the colleges in this area. And
Yeah.
In most cases, all you need is a piece of paper and a certificate so you can have that income and not have the college debt, which is
Yes.
remarkable.
Ugh.
That way you can go ahead
Yeah.
and just, because you and I have both been to college. You know what it's like. I mean, a lot of debt you can incur if you're not really careful. Let's talk for a few minutes about human trafficking because that's everybody's talking about it. It's all over the world now, and it's even happening right here at home. I know I
Yes.
was talking with our sheriff located right here, Nick Weldon, right here in
Yeah.
DeKalb County, and he was talking about, it's happening even here. We
Yeah.
like to think it's because of I-59, which goes from Birmingham into Chattanooga,
Yeah.
but it's here too. So are you
Yeah.
seeing an uprise in this area?
Yeah, so when you think about Northeast Alabama in particular, one of the things, unfortunately, that a lot of people talk about or think about in relation to this area is the drug issue.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we try to, we implemented the Northeast Alabama Human Trafficking Task Force last year, and that falls under our agency. And the main goal of the Northeast Alabama Human Trafficking Task Force is to educate people on the issue of trafficking in our area and to let people know it's not just sex trafficking, it's not just drug trafficking, it's not just labor trafficking. There's many different types of trafficking. What we see particularly in our agency, because we are a rape crisis center, we see parents selling and reselling their children for a hit of drugs, and that's what we see a whole lot. Now, we don't see specifically with our agency the labor trafficking or the drug trafficking, but we know that is happening in our area. And like you said, it's because that interstate, this is one of the worst parts of the country for trafficking in general. And Nick Weldon has been such a wonderful partner for our agency, and we're just so grateful for he and his whole staff, because they treat us like they treat each other. Like they see us as a different branch of what they're doing as well. And so we've been very grateful for that. And so yeah, that's what we see a lot. A lot of times when people think of human trafficking, they think of the movie Taken, and they think it's a young lady being put on a plane to fly to an Arabian prince overseas, and of course that is absolutely a type of trafficking. That's not typically what we see here. And so what we see here is when parents are not selling their children for good, but just selling them, saying, okay, I can't afford to get some crystal meth now, but you can sleep with my child. You can have sex with my child. And then they'll do that over and over. Or a partner selling their spouse or their girlfriend, their boyfriend, whatever it may be. So that's what we see a lot of within our agency. And we've been very grateful because, excuse me, Mamie Jo Miller, she is a teacher at Fort Payne. Angel, she is a nurse at Fort Payne Middle. Angel is the chair for Rainsville. Mamie's the chair for Fort Payne. And Natasha Hilly, she's a teacher at Fife. She's the chair for DeKalb County. And Courtney, she is a forensic interviewer at the Children's Advocacy Center in Gunnersville. She's the chair for Marshall County. And so it's not just our agency do it, but we're trying to get the community involved. And we feel like if all we can do, at least at this point, is just educate people and bring awareness to that situation. Mm-hmm. That's our biggest goal right now.
That's right, Sherry. Sherry Hyde is with me, and we're talking about the abusive things that happen here in the area. And I appreciate you being on the show and talking about this, because sometimes we live in our own little world. We live in a little bubble, and we think, well, nothing is happening here. But we do have to be educated about these things. Absolutely. Now, the first time you were on the show, we were talking about abuse within the home. And so we were talking about women who could be abused, as well as men who could be abused as well. And so is that trend, is that still on the uprise?
Yeah. So that's one of the things we talk about a lot. When we do a lot of public speaking and presentations to different people, we definitely want them to know that it's not just women that come through our doors who are victims of sexual assault. We have a lot of guys who have been here for rape kits and forensic interviews. And so that is what we would consider to be an underserved community. We have within our agency something called the Cultural Connection Committee. And that committee consists of people from what we would consider to be marginalized or underserved populations. That would be like, in Marshall County, there's a huge Haitian population. So it would be Haitian, Black, Hispanic, faith-based, LGBTQ, intellectually challenged, and male. And the male population is such a forgotten population when it comes to sexual assault, because a lot of people don't think that is a possibility, but is absolutely a possibility, and is a great possibility because we see them come through our doors all the time.
What are some signs as a friend, because as friends, we don't want to be involved and we think, well, maybe I'm just imagining it.
Mm-hmm.
But that these things are really happening. So if we have a friend we think is being abused without being nosy and without asking a whole lot of questions, what are some things we need to look for?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is to give them a safe space. That is the most important thing. Make them know that whatever they say in your presence, it's okay. And you're not going to be shocked by it. I think a lot of times, certainly I, years ago, before I got into this work, was one of those that would go, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. And you automatically just put this look of shock and horror on your face. And that makes people not want to say anything. So I think the most important thing is to create a safe space and be patient. Let them know that you're a safe person and let them know that you're there to listen. And so a lot of times when you have someone who is outgoing and extroverted and suddenly they become very introverted, they become very reclusive, they become very private, they don't want to talk as much as they used to or go out as much as they used to. Sometimes their appearance. A lot of times someone who likes to fix up, obviously I'm not one of those today, but if you have someone who is likes to fix up a lot or be presentable and suddenly you start to see a change in their appearance and they don't seem to care as much as what they look like. They seem to maybe wear a lot of baggy clothes. And a lot of times people like to cover up. They just don't want anybody to see them. They want to be invisible. But to me, one of the most important things that I would tell people is just be a safe person, be a safe place for someone, and let them know that whatever they say, it's okay and you can handle it. You can handle it. And a lot of times people don't say anything because they're afraid that whoever they're saying it to won't be able to handle what they're about to hear. And or that they're going to tell somebody before they're ready to tell anybody else. So just be a safe person. That's a big thing to me. Just be safe.
Well, and let me ask you another question. This pertains to abuse as well within a relationship. That could be, husband and wife. It could be one of those, or again, same-sex relationships as well.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts about? Let's say I have a friend. I don't, but let's say I have a friend I think
Sure.
may be in an abusive situation. What if I'm afraid to be involved? What if, I'm afraid to ask him to come to my house. I'm afraid he'll come and burn my house down.
Yeah.
What are some things you can do legally, or should you let the police know you're the person who's coming to your house? How could you handle that?
Well, obviously, if they're under 18, you got to call DHR.
Yeah.
Obviously. And I'll tell people sometimes you can make an anonymous call. You can make an anonymous call to the police department and do a welfare check. If you know their address, you can make an anonymous call to DHR and do an intake. And I think too, knowing the situation, knowing the people that are involved, and if you are presented with a dangerous situation, just when they leave, make sure that your house is protected. Make sure that your doors are locked and your windows are locked. But also, if you have reasonable if you have a reason to be concerned or scared, I would go ahead and call the cops and say, hey, I was just told this and I'm kind of concerned about my well-being. And they may say, okay, we're going to ride by your house a few times and just make sure you're okay, But yeah, if they're under 18, you got to make that call because children, they're our priority, of course.
Yeah, and I would. And I feel the same way. I know you've laughed at me saying this before, but if I go to a department store of any kind and I see a vehicle that is the windows are up and there's a child in it or there's an animal in it, I'm going to find something. I'm going to break the windows out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will.
Yeah.
So there are other ways of abuse as well. I mean, and I know people, and I did catch a lady one time, and I was about ready to get a cart and just throw it through and so she comes running out there, and she said, it was just a minute. But there's no way you can run in some of these department stores and be gone just for 1 minute. I mean, there's no way.
I have tried to do this before, and this happened actually last summer. I had heard about this child who, and I think we just recently heard about a child who had died in a car unfortunately, because it was so hot.
Yeah.
And if you sit in a hot car just for a minute, I mean, it's a horrible, horrible thing. And so, yeah, if they're under 18, it's a no-brainer. You got to call.
Mm-hmm.
Got to call. But one thing, if it's okay, I wanted to talk about this real quick as we just secured this last week. And actually, this is the first time I'm making the announcement aside from I posted it on Facebook. So I'm telling you, we are going to be having a Safe Church conference on Sunday, October the 2nd, and it's going to be at Sneed State in Fielder Auditorium. I'm actually having a Zoom with the Attorney General's office today at 3 they're going to be coming and speaking as well. But some of those things that we're going to be talking about, I've got the list right here. I was making it out right before the Zoom. Some of the topics that are going to be discussed will be the mandatory reporting laws, background checks. We're going to have some sample policies for child abuse prevention, some sample policies for risk reduction for the church, red flags of a predator, signs of abuse, human trafficking. And for every church that attends, it's going to be free. So for every church that attends, we're going to give them a certificate, but we're also going to give them 90 days, and we're going to make a call. And for every church who has implemented those policies, who have all their leaders to do the mandatory reporter training online and do background checks, we're going to present them with a plaque, and then we're going to put them on our website as being a safe church. And so that way, for people moving into the community, they'll be able to look at that website and say, hey, that church has gone through the training. That church knows what they're doing. My children are going to be safe there.
Absolutely. That's one big fear, you always have to worry about. When my son was going to school, of course, there was no abuse or anything like that happening. It was a divorce that I was involved in, but no abuse. And so I was free to go to the school. And so my ex-husband was also free to go to the school and pick Brad up if we needed to. So I remember a teacher or someone called from the school one day and said, I just wanted to let you know there's a man here to pick up your child. I was not offended. And I knew he was going to pick him up. But I was not offended. I was glad they called me.
Yes.
And it was actually a mix-up on my part. I forgot to call the school and send a letter to let them know that the ex is going to pick him up. So I would say, sometimes we're inconvenienced, but it's a good thought if you'll just think about it that way. It's inconvenience. However, something good is going to go on.
Absolutely. What we have seen not too long ago, we saw there was a youth leader who was charged with abusing someone in their youth group. And I've been wanting to do this conference for a couple of years, but of course, COVID had other plans and we couldn't do it. After I saw that, that's when I knew, okay, I think it's time for us to put this together. And so what we know and what we see a lot there are more predators in the church than anywhere. And so a lot of churches already have great policies. They have a lot of great training, but a lot of churches don't. There are more churches that don't than do. And so we want to make sure, we feel like we have a great responsibility to provide that training for them, to provide those resources for them. So we're super excited about that. I'm very, I know we're going to do the first one in Marshall County. It's going to be open to all churches, but then we're going to try to do another one in DeKalb County, maybe in the spring, and just continue those trainings and open it up to churches. So we're excited about that.
Well, I'm excited about that too. But I did want to mention one other thing. And sometimes you can have a gut feeling about somebody. And I think God gives us that gut. I really do. Because there have been situations before with a man or a woman, and something just didn't feel right about one of them. They would say all the right things. They would hold hands with the other one. All these little things, it would look good, but there would just be, some kind of an abusive situation going on there. And if you've got a gut feeling about something, I think you need to go with it. Because you could save a life. Is that true?
I'll say it again.
You could save a life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And these things that we're talking about at Safe Church, like these sample policies. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if a church has a church van, do they have a policy that there should be so many adults on that church van, or is it just one adult? If you only have one adult, that leaves it very open for any kind of accusation to be made. So you need at least 2 people on a church van. If you're in children's ministry and one of those children have to go to the bathroom, how many people go to the bathroom with them? Those are some of the policies that we're talking about. It helps protect the child, and it also helps protect the church. But the other thing, what you're talking about, is these background checks are so critical. And I think a lot of churches, they don't know where to do the background checks. Like, who do I send them to, or who do I go through? So those are some of the things that we're going to be providing, are some sample policies that they can go by, and then also some background check, different organizations that do that, how they can get it done. I'm just a big believer. A lot of times things don't get done because people don't know how to do them. So in most situations, I would say ignorance is bliss. I sure plead that a whole lot. Like, I didn't know it. But in this situation, you have to know, because if you don't know, you're putting children at risk.
Yeah.
If you don't know, you're putting your church at risk. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just a very important thing to provide this for people.
I do too. I wanted to get back. I just had a couple of questions that have been sent in. By the way, if you have any questions, you can send those to 256 in the text, 256-659-4319. And this actually applies to the certificate program for jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
So this is I know there are a number of resources we have here in this area and all over the country.
Sure.
Where folks will help you with interviews, how to write a resume, that kind of thing. And by the way, back in my old days, back in the 70s and the 80s, I practically carried a book encyclopedia with me when I was going job interviews. So it's not that way anymore. Now they say it's a one-pager. Is that right?
From what I've heard. Now, I still, like, I'm kind of old school in some ways, but I think the trend is still going to one page. Like, and I think that has a lot to do with people's attention span. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think about it, if people on Facebook, if they have a post that's this long, most people are just I probably do most of the time, I just kind of scroll right past it. Commercials, if they're too long, people don't, so everything is kind of short. And I think that's just the attention span. You got to make yourself look good in one page.
But that's the time to brag about yourself. And so if you use some bullet points, is from what I understand, is what they say at Northeast, and I think it's Sneed as well. So just find 3 or 4 bullet points. But now, if your background varies, it may depend on the job you're looking for.
Right.
So you may want to put more emphasis. If you're a welder, you might want to put all the emphasis in welding, or if you're a nurse.
You definitely want to tailor it to your audience, for sure.
And another question we just got, and this is from Amy, and she said she would like to get into the medical field. There are all kinds of programs available out there with certificates. If you wanted to work, say, part-time, in a nursing home, you could do that to build up a little bit of medical experience. I mean, you wouldn't be administering shots or anything like that, but you would be taking care of patients.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, we can't pay for like an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree or anything above that. But those certification classes are really important. And my goodness, back in my day, that's all they talked about was college degrees. And now they're talking about some of these certificates, or some of these trades that are so important. So CNA is one of those things that we can pay for. Medical assistants, phlebotomy, and just those certifications will get you into a hospital. And you get into a hospital, or life assurance or blood assurance or some Red Cross, you're getting insurance. You're getting really good pay, and that is kind of an open door into, if you want to become a nurse, then at that point you can start saving really well to get into a nursing program. So a lot of times the way I feel about some of these certification classes is it's a leg up. Like, if you want to go ahead and pursue an associate's or a bachelor's or more than that, these certification classes is a really great start. So we can certainly pay for it. You have to meet some of the criteria, of course. We have to do an intake and stuff, but tell Amy that she can contact us, and we'd love to help her out if we can.
Absolutely. About 1 minute before the bottom of the hour, can you stay on another 10 minutes or so? Do you need
I can.
Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and go into a commercial break. We're going to talk about some of our sponsors, by the way. MyPillow.com. You got to go check that out. They're running some super, super specials. Go to MyPillow.com, and what they're doing, the sheets, by the way, we have the sheets, we have the pillows. Now, before they were a sponsor of ours, we already had the products. And I'll have to tell you, Sherry, those pillows will last forever. We've had the pillows
I
for
have
about
heard this.
for
Yeah.
about 5 or 6 years, we've had those pillows. And what I love about the pillows, you can throw those in the washing machine, take them out, but throw them in the dryer, and they're like they're brand new.
Nice.
And so Phil has a hard time if we go on a trip. He has a hard time sleeping on other pillows. So we can always take those pillows with us. And he kind of has a thing about sleeping on a pillow that's been used anyway.
Yeah. You want to know that it's your own germs on your own pillow. Yeah.
Absolutely. Go to mypillow.com, and if you'll type in this code, Donna, Donna, you can save over half of what the retail is. So you can get pillows as low as $19.95. And that's a pretty awesome deal. You're going to spend that at some department store somewhere. You're going to get something that's going to last for years and years and years and years and years. So they have sheets. They also have these really awesome slip-on shoes that are awesome. Now you can get the slip-ons or you can get the moccasins. I got the moccasins. They have these really neat bed covers and just all kinds of great products. Go to mypillow.com. And so go ahead and check it out. Code Donna. You'll remember that, the code Donna, and you'll be so happy that you did that. Wanted to mention Northeast Alabama Community College is another one of our sponsors, and call for an appointment. And if let's say you have a birthday, like my mother, Sherry, you know Mother has everything. She's hard to buy for. So all I have to do is go get a certificate, and she can get a massage done, she can get her hair done, she can get nails done, all those things she can get done. And you just walk in, tell them what the amount that you would like. They'll make it out for anything that you'd like. Nice. Father's Day is going to be coming up pretty soon. Dads like to have massages as well. So go ahead and get a certificate. The telephone number there, if I have it on here, and I do, 256-259-1512. They're located on Liberty Lane, and I wanted to mention this, and that's the Cattle Stampede Steakhouse, which is located in Fort Payne as well as in Scottsboro. Go ahead and check them out, and you'll find the Salon Institute just right across the street from them. Today is an awesome day, through lunch specials. Sherry, I don't know if you know this or not, but they have a menu. It's a lunch menu, 5 entrees, less than $5. Yes, and it's super good. And you can do pickup too. Yes. So if the boss says you've got to hurry up and be back make sure you only have 30 minutes, go on ahead and call in your order. And Mr. Employer, be really nice. And by the way, it's such a low cost. If you really want to score some points with the boss, go on ahead and get the boss a plate too. Because you're going to be a friend forever. So it's a lunch entree, like 5, less than $5. Go ahead and check it out. They got chicken fingers. It's a really good deal. They've got barbecue, and they give you really nice portions too. So it's not like little bitty mincy pieces. And you know how I'm about my chicken. Every time we go out to eat, Phil says, "What kind of chicken do you want this time?" Well, it's always going to be that. And then also our friend at Twin City Used Car Sales wanted to mention this. Did you know Bobby is opening up a location now in Gadsden? Yeah, and he can find cars when nobody else can. Now, this is for you worldwide, okay? Yeah. BobbyLedbetter.com, BobbyLedbetter.com. And you're going to be able to find the car of your dreams, whether you're looking for a car, a truck, or an SUV. And so I like to give testimonials. We have some awesome sponsors, and here's quite a few testimonials. There was one of our listeners that bought a car at Twin City Used Car Sales. So he called me and he said, "I'm having a little problem with it." And I said, "Well, what kind of problem are you having?" I said, "Have you called them?" And he said, "No, I just thought I'd call you." And I said, "You need to call Bobby, because Bobby just goes to pieces if he thinks a customer is not satisfied." I said, "Call him, he'll make it right." And he did. He made it absolutely right. Wow. So if you're having any kind of an issue whatsoever, go ahead and do that. Papa Doobies, go ahead and check them out. They're located also in the Albertville area. Have you been there yet?
Oh gosh, yes, it's so good. Of course, we have an office in Fort Payne, but I'm typically here in Albertville more. Mm-hmm. And so Papa Doobies has got it going on. That new place of theirs, it's awesome. It is. They've always had great food, but this building is awesome.
It's really good, and they have a little courtyard out there as well.
Yes, so it's really so nice.
Absolutely. Wanted to mention Northeast Alabama Summer Bridge Program. Let me tell you about the Bridge Program. It's pretty cool. It's designed to help prepare for the 2022 high school graduates for enrollment into college degree programs. But let me tell you this first. I know you're going, well, what's in it for me? Well, I'm going to tell you, parents, what's in it for you. You're going to see some dollar signs. When your son or daughter successfully crosses the summer bridge at Northeast Alabama Community College, students will receive a $1,000 scholarship for the 2022 fall semester. Plus, the students will receive 3 credit hours. That means a lot right there for the boot camp course once they complete it. Now, each course offered is limited to 12 seats. You need to go ahead and get them enrolled like right now. And they're filled on a first come first served basis, and they do not wait, do it now. You can go ahead and go to the website. That's nacc.edu, and you'll be able to find information about that as well. Now, following programs: welding, plumbing, HVAC, construction, wiring. Okay, so all that's for you. Okay, let's go ahead and get back and talk to Sherry Hyde. And she is the Director of Family Services of North Alabama. I'm looking to see if you have any more questions. Yeah, a few of them about the same thing you've already answered. So if you have any questions for Sherry, 256-659-4319. And Sherry, I'm aware of your time. I know you've got a lot of stuff going on right now. Could you give us about 10 more minutes?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So I know you've been working on quite a few programs. Let's go ahead and talk about what you were talking about earlier with the program that's going to be out there.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Here's our assistant. Come here, Steve. Here's our assistant director.
Hello, everybody.
Hey,
hello.
How are you doing? It's good to see you.
Donna Feazell. This is Steve Downs.
Hey, Donna.
So
nice to meet you.
You guys are doing so many awesome things, and this community really appreciates it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. We're just honored to have the privilege of being able to do it. You know, I mean, it's a gift in and of itself. So,
and I tell you, without this dude right here, none of it would be happening. I mean, he is amazing. We're very grateful for Steve.
It's good to meet you, Steve.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, you guys are a great team out there, and we're so glad to have you here.
Oh, we're so grateful to be here, and the team that we have, God has certainly blessed us with a lot of great people working in this call-in. So he just came in from lunch, so I wanted to let you see him. Mm-hmm. We don't let him get out very often, but this time we did.
Sometimes he just kind of breaks away.
That's right. Sometimes he just escapes.
Absolutely. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio. We're located, in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. We are nationwide right now. Wanted to thank a real good friend of mine. His name is Rob Patz, and so we are streaming for the first time live television. And so you can watch us on Abundant TV. They are a Christian television station. You can find them on Roku, Apple TV, as well as Amazon Fire. So you are worldwide today. Just wanted to let you know that, Sherry. And
that is awesome.
Now, there are other programs out there all across the United States that are very much like yours, because we all know, and it takes caring people to be part of a team program like you guys have. Now, you're located in Albertville, and then you have another location as well as in Fort Payne.
Yes, ma'am. We actually serve 6 counties altogether.
Oh, okay.
So we serve Marshall, DeKalb, St. Clair, Blount County, Cherokee, and Jackson. And we have an office in all of them except for Blount County and Cherokee, but those are coming soon.
Okay, awesome. Now, if someone is in trouble, or not necessarily in trouble, but they're in an abusive situation, is there a place it's kind of like a hideaway place they can go to and bring their kids?
Yeah, so unfortunately, the Domestic Violence Crisis Services, they are a phenomenal organization that we would consider to be a sister agency. And the reality is there's a lot of men and women who are in DV situations, domestic violence situations, who are also being sexually assaulted. And I've always said you can have sexual assault without domestic violence, but it's very rare you'll find domestic violence without an element of sexual assault. In our area, unfortunately, the only shelter that I know of anyway, I mean, I might be wrong, is in Albertville. And they do such wonderful work. I mean, they're full almost all the time. And I just, we need more shelters when they need more help. But Carla Wood and their team, they do a phenomenal job. So I wish there were more. But I always tell people they can call our crisis line. It's 855-878-9159. And if we don't know the answer, we will try to find the answer. And a great resource always is 211 for help. They are a phenomenal resource, and they're in every county of Alabama.
Absolutely. Of course, I hate to see anyone abused, but especially children. And we talked about that just a few minutes ago. But there's an attorney, I don't know if she's affiliated with you guys or not, but she's in the Albertville area. And if you want to get her dander up, abuse kids. And I have known of her, Norma Wells, and I have known of her to get all upset in court at parents fighting at each other with their kids in the courtroom.
Good. I mean, that's the craziest thing. I hate seeing that stuff. Like parents putting the kids in the middle, and I hate it. It's a hard thing to see.
It is, but that's a form of abuse as well, because those kids carry that with them the rest of their lives.
That's right. That's absolutely right. I have heard. I don't think I've ever met her, but I have heard of her. And she's great.
And there's some good judges out there. I know right here in DeKalb County, I know a few I've heard of. And so, when it comes to those kids, I'm going to tell you what, they're going to get all over you.
That's exactly right. Yep. And they should. They absolutely should.
What are some things that we could look for? I know we talked about a couple, but what about children? Are there some things, because you want to be a nosy neighbor, but on the other hand, if you think there's abuse going on in the neighborhood, kind of need to keep a little eye out, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. And so, we talked about people becoming reclusive or very quiet or not talking. And what we see a lot of, they just want to be invisible. They just don't want to be seen. But on the other spectrum of that, there's a lot of, particularly children, they don't know how to process. Not that anybody knows how to process this stuff, right? So I don't mean for it to be like you get used to it or whatever. But a lot of children, they just become angry. A lot of times that neighborhood bully. A lot of times the one who is just acting out all the time, or just really loud and trying to get people's attention. Or if they come to school and they have constant belly aches, they're constantly sick, or they're constantly throwing up. A lot of times it's anxiety. And we don't think about that a lot of times. We think, well, they're just sick all the time. Well, when it comes to a child, they don't know how to process anxiety. Not that anybody does very well, but particularly with a child, a lot of times they just feel very anxious and their stomach gets upset. We knew of one child that a lot of times if they got upset, they would go to the middle of the floor and vomit. And that was their way of not just getting attention, but also relieving themselves of that stress. And so, there's a lot of ways to identify some things that are going on, but what we see a lot of is just becoming reclusive, not wanting to talk, or the other end of that spectrum is just being very violent and very angry.
Yeah, and those are situations we all hate to see and know about.
Yes.
But again, when it comes to a child, I'm going to tell you that's just it.
Yeah.
Okay, about 2 minutes left in this segment. What would you like to tell the folks before you go?
Well, it's just a privilege to do this work and this calling, and we want to make partners with everybody in the community. We want to partner with churches. We want to partner with businesses. We want to partner with schools. We want to partner with community corrections and those in law enforcement, because we want people to know about our services. And all of our services are free. So we're here to help in any capacity. We'll go anywhere and speak about our services. And if anyone needs us, they can call our crisis line. It's 855-878-9159. They can call our office, which is 256-878-9159. Or they can shoot us an email. It's info @familyservicesna.org. They can also go to our website, which is familyservicesna.org, and see a list of all of our programs.
Absolutely. Sherry, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It was such an honor, and I just love being here with you. And congratulations on everything.
Thank you. And listen, after the show, sometime this afternoon, let's get together about next month so we can go ahead and get you a
Yes,
spot.
you just let me know anytime.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
You too. That's Sherry Hyde. She's with Family Services of North Alabama, the executive director. So good to be with her today. Coming up a little bit later on the show, at 2 o'clock, we're going to be talking with John Merrill, and he's our Alabama Secretary of State. And then Philip Gilliland, who's with the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches, is actually going to be right here in the studio. He just sent a text to let me know that. And then we'll be talking with Robin Littaker, and she is Public Service Commission number 2. So we're excited to be with her again today. Let's go ahead and talk about a few more of our sponsors, and I've got some tips for you as well. And then we'll be ready at the top of the hour to go into a commercial break. Patterson Music, I wanted to mention them. Okay, they are located in Fort Payne, and in Fort Payne on Galt Avenue. Real great folks to do business with. You can do business with them online as well if you'd like to do that. They do have a Facebook page. This is where I've got the soundboard. This is where I would not think of anywhere else. And mainly because of the customer service. And so when we're talking about them, we have our regular Music in the Geraldine Park event, and that's always the second Saturday of May every year. So we're already talking about next year. We had a great event. It was a couple of weeks ago. And so we were talking with them about sound equipment and stuff like that. No one else. It'll only be them. You know why? Because I can harass Dan, and Dan will make sure I understand how to use this stuff. But anything we need for the station, we always buy everything from them. Go ahead and check them out on Galt Avenue, and that's Patterson, Marie, and Dan Patterson on this. Another new sponsor, wanted to talk about them as well. Southern Surface Cleaning and Pressure Washing. You can call them at 256-338-5152. I'm going to go out there and do a live remote out there sometime. They are licensed, insured, bonded, free estimates. They'll either do the soft wash or the pressure washing too, by the way. Driveways, houses, decks, docks, walkways, parking lots, buildings, gas stations, all of it. And remember, they are bonded. Now, that's really important. That's not just in Alabama, but all 50 states. If you have a contractor come out to your house for anything, okay, and they say that they are licensed, make sure it's not just a driver's license. Yeah, I was had that pulled on me one time. Make sure that they are licensed in the contracting field with whatever state you are living in. Okay, that's extremely important. I had a text just a minute ago about the Northeast Alabama Summer Bridge Program, the information about that. And the bridge program will actually run July the 11th through July the 22nd. And if you would like to participate in that, all you have to do is get in contact with Northeast Alabama Community College, and they're going to take care of that for you as well. A lot of text, folks, running for office. I'm not going to be on the show tomorrow, okay, because we are, I'm going to actually be working the voting polls out there, and I'm really excited about that. This is something my grandmother used to do, and every single year of my entire life that I can think of. And so I'm tickled that I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. Got to be there like before 7. Now, by the way, if you're working the polls and they say 7, you really need to get there about 6:30, okay? And because that's when the polls open. So make sure that you are absolutely there. I wanted to look at a couple of things on the Facebook page just to make sure I'm not missing out on some awesome things that are happening in this area. And here we go. Let me find. Yeah, I did a little test run earlier with no makeup on, so don't pay any attention to that, okay? And we're excited, absolutely excited to be part of this program. Here it is. I'm looking for Creekside. I wanted to make sure I had it's an event coming up. It's Creekside Gospel Music Convention. And the dates are October the 23rd through the 27th. You got to be there, okay? I mean, I'm going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Smoky Mountain Convention Center is where it's going to be. Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And that's going to be like the perfect time of the year. Leaves will be turning. You'll find nowhere prettier than Tennessee when the leaves start changing. They're going to have daytime showcases, evening concerts, midnight prayer. So you can text or you can call Rob. Rob, I'm giving your phone number out. Area code 425-754-1147. You can get weekly $30 passes on that as well. So Rob, thanks also for making that happen. Phil and I are going to be there, so we're going to have us a good time. That's Creekside Gospel Music Convention, and that will be October the 23rd through the 27th, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I wanted to mention also how to write resumes and that kind of thing. You know, Sherry Hyde and I were talking about that earlier. Times have changed, okay? It's not like it used to be a long, long time ago when you're looking for a job. There is Impact Learning Center. They are located in Scottsburg. You need to check them out because they will help you. And by the way, free, yeah, you speak in my language when you say free computer classes. They have step-by-step programs teaching you how to use MailChimp. And I'm going to give you the telephone number to register. It is a free class, and they have it at different times throughout the month. But 256-218-2121, 256-218-2121. Okay, so go ahead and check that out. And then their resume workshop, they have that as well. We were talking about resumes again just a few minutes ago. They're going to have one, and actually they'll go around to your town in North Alabama. So you need to get in contact with them because they have something called Skills on Wheels. It's a nice van, and it has all kinds of computer equipment, and they will be glad to teach that. If you'd like to have these classes taught at your business, that's another great thing you can do. It's just part of the community and things they want to do for your community. Just bring an old resume that needs to be updated. They can also help you create a new one. If you go back into the 1970s and 80s like I had, definitely a new one. They'll have an email address that you can log into from your phone or from computer. Got to give yourself at least an hour for the workshop. And if you are actually just passing through and the Skills on the Van wheels just happens to be somewhere else, go ahead and stop by. They'll make some room for you. 256-218-2121, 256-218-2121. And then also NACEE, this is North Alabama Center for Educational Excellence, financial aid assistance, processing, electronic. Also the scholarship information, we talked about that just a few minutes ago with Sherry as well. Academic counseling, career counseling, ACT prep classes, and also summer enrichment programs. I'm going to give you the telephone number. That's 256-259-3072, 256-259-3072. Aren't we happy to have this rain today? If you have a garden, and on the show we also talk about gardening, we talk about canning, we talk about all kinds of things, talk about politics, all of that stuff goes on. And you'll also be happy to know I give everyone a fair share, whether I agree with them or not. You might not agree with me, so it's all a fair share, okay? So we'll give you a voice to speak if you would like to do that. Get in contact with me and let me know, 256-659-4319. Our election here in Alabama is going to be tomorrow, and we don't know if we're going to have runoffs. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's very, very important races that are going on right now. We're going to be talking with our Alabama Secretary of State, John Merrill. He'll be talking with us a little bit more. Have annual report. So many of the things John has done for this area has been absolutely great, but I always get these annual reports. And also, if you'll keep up with their website, you'll find more information about that as well. Okay, the Geraldine Farmers Market will be starting on Wednesday, May the 4th. During the month of May, vendors are allowed to resell their products. You don't have to grow it locally. If you want to go to Birmingham and pick up things, you can do that as well. Beginning June 1st, though, you got about a week left, all items sold must be grown locally or made locally. All vendors are required to obtain a permit from the town hall prior to selling your goods. There will not be a fee for vendors this year. Okay, the farmers market days are Wednesdays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. until whenever. That's pretty good hours out there, isn't it? That's what we did when we had the music in Geraldine Park. We began the park actually at 4 o'clock, and then people were saying, well, how long is it until? And I would just say, until we just decide we don't want to do it anymore. Wanted to mention the Cowboy Church. Cowboy Church has been really, really awesome for this community. And I know there are Cowboy churches just all over the country, but every single event we've had, they've been part of it. And they have what they call a chuck wagon. And they'll bring that down there and they'll cook for us. And it's just been absolutely awesome. And so we're going to have Philip Gillen of Cowboy Church on with us in just a few minutes. I wanted to mention this. Now, I'm talking to all singers across the country, okay? And you're involved with this as well. We have what we call the IC Radio, and it's the top 20 music requests. And this is, I mean, our listeners are the boss of this station. I'm telling you, they tell us what to do. So our listeners, what we'll do is we keep up with the amount of requests that have been sent in to the station. And it's real easy to do. You can go to the website, icradio.media. I is in Christ, icradio.media. And if you would like to request a song from someone, if we don't have the music, we'll need the MP3 of the song. And so there are some folks who normally don't get recognized who've been recognized on this station because of that. So our top 20, we had another great list. If you would like to request a song, go to the website. You can also download our app. Go to the Apple Store. Free, by the way, the Apple Store, and type in IC Radio. And you can also go to, if you've got an Android phone, you can also go there and just type in IC Radio as well. You can download the app, and I'll just have to show you. This is pretty cool. So it's on your cell phone, and it looks like, if you can see it or not, but anyway, there's the IC Radio logo. I have it turned down just a minute. You can see Afternoon Drive Home is being aired right now. And all I have to do is click the little arrow, and I've got music playing, or I've got this show playing. We've got all kinds of great things that happen here. So if you would like to request a song, if you're going ahead and send it through the website, that would be awesome. And we'll be, by the way, you can click it in there too. Now, you can only have requests of 2 songs per hour, okay? So keep that in mind, 2 per hour. Okay, let's see, the Women's Care Center. I wanted to mention them. The Women's Care Center is located in Fort Payne, and there are women care centers all over the country, and I encourage you to be involved and volunteer. Looking for some volunteers here as well. Everything is done, and they'll also do pregnancy tests. Let me just go ahead and mention the services they do for free. Pregnancy test, referrals to approved agencies, post-abortion support. If you're thinking about having an abortion, they'll be glad to talk to you about that. And by the way, it's in a non-confrontational way. And most of what they do is listen to you, okay? And that's important. Earn while you learn. And this is really cool because you can go to their classes. They are prenatal and parenting classes. And they have a clothes closet. So the clothes closet is for babies and toddlers up to 5 years old. Educational material concerning abstinence, marriage risk, and also the dangers of sexually transmitted diseases. Risk and procedures for abortion. They do Bible studies, and they also have a 13-week program. It's called New Hearts of Joy. It's 13-week forgiveness and healing course, and it's based on a book. It's the best-selling book, Forgiven. Yeah, Forgiven. And let me give you the name of this book. It's called Forgiven and Set Free, and it's by Linda Cochran as well. Now, our discussion leaders are women who have had abortions, and all of the women have had abortions that are teaching the class, and they felt its impact on their lives. They've experienced God's healing. There's been a lot of depression because of that, but they experienced God's healing forgiveness throughout this biblically based program. And again, there are other programs like this all over the United States. You just have to find it. Let's see, the telephone number is 256-845-0838. That's 256-845-0838. Non-confrontational, and by the way, everything is sent to you as well, confidential. So I wanted you to know about that as well. Okay, we were talking about our sheriff here. Look at that. By the way, if you get these, you can go ahead and hang up. It's called a spam risk. Click. Sometimes they'll call me and they'll say, we're going to help you pay off your college. And I'll let them go ahead and ramble. Sometimes I just let people do that. And so I will mention to them, you know what? I graduated from high school in 1977. And if I've not paid college debt by now, I'm probably never going to pay it. So anyway, that's probably what it's all about. But try not to answer it if you can, okay? Because sometimes they have these ways of, getting into your security questions, and they may mess up your yeah, it may mess up your whole life. So be careful on things like this. Oh, and by the way, this is something else I've been told. This is for everybody all across the country. Okay, sometimes you'll get a phone call. There will be someone saying they're with the power company or they're with the water department or whatever, and they're telling you that you're late on your payment, you haven't paid it, and they're going to send the police after you, blah, blah, blah. First of all, you'll never get a phone call from any utility company saying anything of the such, okay? So that's not true. So if that happens and they tell you you've got to go get a Walmart gift card, hang up on them immediately. Hang up on them anyway. The best thing to do is hang up on this person, and I'm just looking out for you, okay? Hang up on them, and then you go ahead and call your utility company and ask them if you're late on your payment. And then tell them what just happens. They like to hear that, okay? So that's for you. Okay, the DeKalb County Sheriff Weldon. We love the sheriff. He's been really, really good to this community. Sheriff's Office, better info for Shining Star. And I want to explain to you what this Shining Star database program is. They've implemented a new one-of-a-kind ID card and database that will allow caregivers and parents, those with special needs, to register their loved ones so that first responders will immediately be notified of their specific medical condition, emergency contacts, and best course of action to care. Now, anyone can register who is of any age, from young children to the elderly. And then citizens with special needs, citizens with mental disorders, seniors with disorders such as Alzheimer's or dementia, and also citizens, all citizens of DeKalb County. We started a program, says our Sheriff Nick Weldon, in hopes that it will spread statewide and then nationwide. So if you are a sheriff and you're in another state, you might want to get in contact with this sheriff, okay? He's got this thing going on. Okay, and then nationwide to help law enforcement officers identify subjects with mental impairments and provide effective care. It is voluntary, no cost. We all like to hear that, don't we? And so you'll get in contact with them. They'll give you something kind of like this card if you can see it. And this card will just ask for some information about you as well. Okay, I think we're probably getting ready to go into break again. Phil, I have 2:01, is that correct? We're waiting on John Merrill to be coming into the show. Always excited to talk with John. He has been an awesome Secretary of State. If you could see what this desk looks like. Of course, it's not as bad as my desk just a few feet away, but anyway, it can be a mess. And don't forget to call Southern Surface Cleaning and Pressure Washing. They are there to help you. They are bonded as well. If something tears up, their insurance pays for it. That's something that you always want to see. Okay, let's make sure I've got all this ready. We're getting ready for our next guest. And again, if you are a singer or if you know of someone who sings some awesome music and you would like to have them aired at this station, we can make that happen for you. Go on ahead and go to the website and we'll get all that ready. Okay, let's see. Okay, and folks who want to vote, okay, you'll need to go to the, and this is a text that just got sent in. If you're not sure where to vote, you need to go to the Alabama Secretary of State website. And what they'll do is there'll be a section up there where you can type in your zip code, and that will tell you exactly where you need to go vote. Now, I know right here in Geraldine, it's at the First Baptist Church, located almost directly across from the school as well. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about our upcoming guests for the rest of the week. First of all, we're going to have a big ribbon cutting, and that's going to be on Friday, 10 a.m. at Twin City Used Car Sales with Bobby Ledbetter. I'm really excited about that. Don Hunton, who is the pastor of Lookout Mountain Cowboy Church, will be with us as well. On Thursday, we'll be talking with Rob Patz and Susie Stover. Susie is an interior designer with Ethan Allen, so I'm really excited to talk with her. On Wednesday's show, talk show host Andy Kirkendall will be with us, as well as Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey with Alabama Fair Tax, and then also Loretta Roger, who is with Cove Crafters, will be with us at 2:30, so I'm really excited about all of our guests. Coming up a little bit later in today's show, at 3 o'clock, we're going to be talking with Robin Whitaker. And Robin is a public service commission. She's actually running for that position. It's Public Service Commission in Alabama, Place 2. She was at our Music in the Park, Geraldine Park event. That was a lot of fun to have her there. Philip Gillen, who is with the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches, is going to be with us at 2:30. We're really excited to talk with him. And then 2 o'clock, Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill. So he'll be on with us. Very busy man there, I can just assure you of that. We're waiting on him to come in. Wanted to mention, oh, and by the way, did you see the show with Jenny Shaver, by the way? Yeah, she is actually running for re-election, her position. And we really do support her. She's done a really good job. Again, voting day is going to be happening on tomorrow. But I actually had her on the show and she was cooking jam. Come to find out, she's quite the cook. So we actually made some jam on one of those programs. I wanted to mention to you as well about voting. Okay, so I went to one of the classes and Rob and I couldn't have our regular show last Thursday, or Thursday before last, because I had to go for training. And here are some things that are absolute must. First of all, if you're going to be helping in the polls, remember it begins, people start coming in, they start packing into the locations at 7. So if you're working the polls and you're in DeKalb County, Marshall County, you're anywhere in the United States, if there's a voting day tomorrow, you're working the polls, you need to be there early, okay? Don't just show up when other folks start coming in. So make sure you have your ID with you, okay? And so you need to place that. You need to show your ID. And these are just things that our Alabama Secretary of State, John Merrill, is making happen. And we're all excited about that. And again, you can go to their website. And they have this annual report with them actually on the website. And you can find out a lot of information. Y'all, I'll have to say this. I got to brag about John just a little bit, too. And we're going to do so when he comes on the show. But some really neat things that has happened is other states, other Alabama Secretary of States have actually been in contact with John Merrill to find out how he did such a good job during our election process. As far as I know, there's always going to be some cheating going on. And that's been going on since we've had elections. But not near as bad as what we feel happened in the rest of the 50 states. So anyway, get in contact on the website. You'll find out all kinds. You'll find out where you're supposed to go vote. And you're a bit late if you wanted to do it early voting. That's not going to happen. But you go out there and vote. This is your right. This is your God-given right to go out there and vote. I mean, you've got to do that because I'm not going to let you fuss with me. If you fuss with me about what's going on in the world, first of all, I'm going to ask you, did you vote? If you say, no, I'm going to say, next. But get out there and vote, okay? It's really important. I know somebody in this area. This has been about 10 years ago. And she was running for office. It was a local thing, and it was in this area in DeKalb County. And she lost by, I think it was like 3 votes. And she found out that her kids didn't vote. It was a possibility she could have won had her kids vote. I can't believe that they told her that they didn't vote. I would have never mentioned that. I would just we'll let that slide. Absolutely. But it's so important that you do that. And it's important that you do the right thing, you vote as well. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about our sponsor here, and this is the Cattle Stampede Steakhouse. They are located, if you're just passing through and you get on I-59, you're coming in from, say, Chattanooga or anywhere in the country, and you're coming through to Alabama, it's going to be worth your while to stop by the Cattle Stampede Steakhouse if you want to go to the Fort Payne location. They got super good food, and I wanted to mention this about Miles Smith. Okay, Miles Smith is the owner, and he always gets aggravated at me when I start bragging on him, but I've got to do this. When COVID hit, a lot of folks, they were laid off, and, they had no money coming in. So I remember he and Bobby Ledbetter with Twin City Used Cars, they got with me, and they said, we want to do this for the community. We want to feed the people. And they did. They did it for absolutely free. And I'll tell you something else they've done for the past 2 years, and that's Christmas dinner. I think that's pretty awesome too. Christmas dinner, so what they did, and I got to go, I was kind of like the Walmart greeter. I got to greet folks as they came in. And so they gave away at Christmas, it was in, actually, no, it was not Christmas, it was Thanksgiving. And so they gave away enough food to feed a family of 12. So there was a turkey breast and cans of corn and green beans, like we like to eat here in the South. And also they had a pack of rolls, those good Hawaiian rolls, those real good ones I've talked about before. And then also this great big huge pecan pie. So Miles Smith had a lot to do with this. He and Bobby Ledbetter, they kind of teamed up. And we went to other different areas too, all over North Alabama. And so I was just glad to be part of it. I just thought it was pretty cool. that you've got people who own businesses, local businesses. You know, I always say shop local. And these folks own businesses and they want to take care of people in your area. So when I'm hungry and I want to go to a restaurant, this is always the tops right here, the Cattle Stampede Steakhouse. And everything is so affordable. If you would like to go ahead and do an order pickup, they can have that ready for you as well. Just give them a call. Monday through Friday from 11 to 2 is when they have the 5 lunch specials under $5. So go ahead and check that out all day long. And let me give you an idea of what they have. Now, this is what Phil got last time. They had the 6-ounce chopped sirloin, yeah, for $4.99. And that didn't include the sides because you also had the French fries, or you did baked potato or onion rings with that as well. And there's also another, and by the way, the rolls are really good. They're yeast rolls. And then I chose the 4-piece chicken tenders. And I'm not talking about these little bitty squirming chicken fingers. I'm talking about nice size. I mean, and I didn't eat it all. As a matter of fact, I wound up taking it home. And also they have a 5-ounce chicken breast and 15-piece popcorn shrimp. You know, Rob keeps saying every time he's coming through this area, he's going to stop. Rob Pats, he's going to stop through here. Hey, Rob, I'll pay for it this time. Yeah, I'll be glad to pay for it because I'm not going to spend a whole lot of money, less than $5. And they also have these barbecue plates, and they're good as well. And also wanted to mention this. They've had the same cook. This guy's been with them a real long time, and he knows how to cook a steak. You know, a lot of folks like rare, medium rare, well done. You got to know what you're doing when you cook a steak well done. Yeah, so that it's not like eating rubber or something. So this cook knows how to do a well done steak. So now he won't tell me how. I went to the kitchen to ask, and he just kind of looks at me like, yeah, I'm going to tell you. So go ahead and check them out when you're passing through this town. And you want to buy a car, buy it from Bobby Ledbetter at Twin City Used Car Sales. It's worth a drive from anywhere. I'll just tell you that. They're opening up another location in Gadsden. Phil and I are going to be at that ribbon cutting at 10:30. I'm really excited about that as well. Then we'll have to hurry up and get back here to the station so we can have a show. All kinds of awesome things. Okay, let me go ahead and mention a couple of things. John must have run into an issue, but that's okay. We'll just reschedule with him. John Merrill, by the way, and this is pretty cool. We've run his ads here at the station. So Lionel Richie and then President Trump are on the ads. And of course, you can imagine Lionel Richie is talking on the Democrat side, and President Donald Trump is on the Republican side. And they're talking about voting and why it's so important to vote. And so that's another good thing. But let me tell you what happened. So President Trump wanted to meet with John Merrill. So John had to go to his home in Florida, which I thought was pretty interesting. So he gets down there, and at the very same time, I happened to be at the Shepherd's Cove thrift shop. So I was down there and just running through, I was walking through, shopping and looking at some stuff because I like to repurpose things. We're going to talk about that in just a minute as well. So what was pretty cool is he was with President Trump at the same time he was watching me on Facebook. I just thought it was cool. It's just cool that John Merrill was in Florida talking to him. So I thought that worked out pretty good. Okay, Phil, if you don't mind, send Robin a message with so that she'll be able to get online. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, the photo ID requirements. And this was a big thing. And also wanted to mention this. They're going to be monitors with the municipal elections. And how the election is going to be different this time. It's still in person. You still got to show an ID. Okay, so this is what they were telling us in class. Phil, let me give this to you. And look up Robin Lideker. She needs to have an email sent with the Zoom invite. So this is what we were, and this all is kind of common sense kind of stuff anyway. So what's going to happen is there's going to be like no opportunity for foul up, okay? And so what's going to happen is we're going to have iPads there. So as you're coming in, you're going to vote. We're going to ask you for ID. I don't know what capacity I'm going to be at. I may be the Walmart greeter again. But anyway, we'll ask you for ID, and you'll need to have that handy. So just go ahead and get it out there and have it ready. So have it ready and fork that over. And so everything's private. So if you really don't want people to know whether you vote Republican or Democrat or whatever you're going to vote, everything is going to be on the iPad anyway. So what you'll do is you'll let them see. This is another great reason. You just go ahead and have your ID. You'll just go ahead and place the ID and give that to whoever's going to be up at the front. and they're going to type your information in on this iPad, and everything done. It's going to be that easy. Now, we'll go ahead and give you a ballot, and then you just walk in, and you'll have your own private place. Nobody's going to be standing around staring at you. And then you're going ahead and vote. And this is another thing. You've still got some time before the election, okay? So there's still a number of folks who are out there, and they're doing meet and greets, even on up through tonight, and probably a few of them tomorrow. So if you want to find out more information about some of these folks who are running for office, you can go to my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/D Feazell. That's D as in Donna, Feazell, F as in Frank, EAZ as in zebra, ELL. You're going to find a lot of them there where we've done a lot of interviews with folks. And so you want to ask pointed questions. And, you know, there's a Senate race that I've really not decided who I'm going to vote for yet. I've got a couple of toss-ups right here for the state of Alabama. So I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and look again. And you'll never know until you vent. Okay, now one of my friends, her name is Ann, and she's with the Alabama Legislative Watchdogs. If you go to facebook.com and just type into the search area Alabama Legislative Watchdogs, her name is Ann Eubanks, and look up information, because she's chock full of information. You want to find out if you are a conservative. I'll just go ahead and give you a couple of options. So if you're a conservative and you're kind of wondering where's the money coming from, you'll be able to find it on that Facebook page, Alabama Legislative Watchdogs. Now, I know there are some links, and there are some links that are in place where it doesn't matter what 50 states you're living in, you're going to be able to find information about that. I would be really concerned where the money's coming from, because this happens. This is why I'm not in politics, okay? Wherever that money comes from, that's who they're actually going to be working for, if you know what I mean. So I've got a couple of folks I'm looking at Senate. I'll have to make up my mind by tomorrow, but I want to do a little bit more research, and it's really important. I want you to think about it this way. Wherever you live, you're voting, think about it this way. You are the CEO of you, right? You make your own decisions about things. Don't look for sound bites. Don't look for stuff you see on Facebook. Most of that's going to be made up stuff anyway. So you are the CEO of you. You are actually hiring somebody when you are electing. And most of our elected officials in this area know that. They know that they're working for us. And we're not afraid to tell them, hey, you're working for us. You know, we the boss. Like our listeners are the boss of this station, right? Okay, that's exactly how it is. Go back in. You can look at archives. Now let me tell you the only thing I don't like about sound bites. Sound bites is not really a good way to find out information about anybody, because I can say anything. I can say the house is blue and it's raining outside, but if you just see the house is blue, you might say, well, Donna didn't say it's raining outside. Well, it's because you didn't hear the whole context. It's like the Bible. You know, sometimes we'll pick out a just like one verse, and we'll take it a particular way, but then you really got to read the whole chapter to get the full meaning out of it. Okay, it's kind of like a sound bite. So a sound bite, you've only heard a small little bit of information about a candidate, and maybe you got a bad vibe because you only saw the sound bite, or you only read the sound bite. If you'll go back in and read as much of the video, or read as much about this person as you possibly can, you might get a different light about a person, and actually how the way they are. Absolutely. Okay, Phil, I'm going to need my phone so I know what time it is. Okay, all right, so I can't do anything right now. All right, so we're going to have Philip Gilliland coming in a little bit later. So we're trying to get a link sent to Robin Whitaker. Tell Robin that it's the same one that was sent before. Okay, all right. Now we're talking about voting. So tomorrow's going to be voting day in the state of Alabama. You got to do your research. You got plenty of time, okay? You've got until 7 o'clock. So the polls open at 7 and they close at 7 p.m. So 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So the boss gives you an hour for lunch. Use that time. It's really important. Use that time for doing a little bit more research. Or you know what? A lot of times you can just pick up the phone and call them. We get a lot of mail outs from folks who are running for office. I'll just use this one for example. And this is with Jeannie Shaver, who's running for office. And so her telephone number is down here. So you can go ahead and give her a call and say, and a lot of this also, be nice. When you're asking questions, don't say anything in a rude way, okay? And I know we all get into the moment, and I'm the same way. I get into the moment sometimes, and I get really passionate about all this voting and, and who we're going to vote for, who's going to be elected, and that kind of thing. Be passionate. You got to keep that passion. But be mindful of the way you present it when you ask a question. That means everything in the world to a candidate, because you got to think about how tired they must be. They've been out there and they've been walking the streets, and they've had events going on, especially the past 2 weeks. 2 weeks leading up to the election. They've been out there and they're tired. So be really careful how you do ask a question. But now be point with the question, okay? And just going ahead and let it rock and roll. But you're probably getting a lot of mail outs, and you're going to see their contact information on that as well. And believe me, they want your vote. Absolutely. Okay, now we were talking about voter ID. That's extremely important. Now, if you don't have a driver's license, that's fine. If you got a voter, you got an ID. Oh, and let me mention this also. If for some reason you lost your driver's license, I have lost my driver's license before. I have. Everybody has at one point or time or another. But if there are 2 people there who know you and they're willing to sign an affidavit, you can go ahead and vote, okay? So that's another good thing. Yeah, John's thought of everything. Absolutely. There has been a task force, wanted to mention that to you as well, and that's for voter fraud reform task force that has been done here in the state of Alabama too. And that's why a lot of folks from other secretaries of states and other states have actually gotten in contact with John Merrill about all this. So that's pretty cool. Okay, let's see. I've got some information I want to give you. We have some websites. You can go ahead and if you're living in another state and you're watching the show right now, just Google it. You can just type in your state, Secretary of State. So if you live in Missouri, then you can just type in Missouri Secretary of State. You'll be able to find it that way. But this is one of the most used websites that I go to, and especially during voting season. But if you're a business owner, you want to go by this website as well. So here's some office contact information. Executive Division. This is the Alabama State Capitol, located on Dexter Avenue. Everybody knows where the Capitol is, and in Montgomery. The Executive Division, the telephone number there is 334-242-7200. That's 334-242-7200. Elections Divisions, Suite E208. The telephone number is 334-242-7210. Now, the Finance Division, if you would like to do business within the state of Alabama, which we do, there's a lot of requirements. You're going to have to jump through quite a few hurdles if you'd like to do, but it's worth it once you get everything done. And be glad they do this, okay? And this lets people in who are totally honest. The telephone number there is 334-353-2022. And also, for government support, trademarks, and that kind of thing, area code 334-242-5325. You got that telephone number as well. Now, the Business Entity Subdivision, and I wanted to mention this telephone number because if you're thinking about starting a business, this is a good number right here to start with. 334-242-5324. This area code 334-242-5324. Okay, most of you have had your taxes done by now, and you've also asked for an extension, and those extensions are just about to play out. So for you who have already done your taxes, well, for everybody, and you have a business and you have a small business, let me give you some pointers on some things that you want to make sure that you get taken care of. Small business is super. We have a small business, and I absolutely love it. And I can make decisions. I don't have to wait on anybody. I just do it. And so I get it done. And so they have some workshops that are available also with the Small Business Administration. Tom Tote is a good friend of mine. He used to be the president of the Chamber of Commerce located in Calhoun County, and he's out there. I know that he's pro small business because he was when he was the president of the Chamber of Commerce in Calhoun County, Alabama as well. So if you have a small business, you're thinking about starting it, and you don't know what to do, there are tools within the Alabama Secretary of State, and there are also tools and the Small Business Administration. Now, this is nationwide, okay? So wherever you are and you're thinking about opening up a small business, going ahead and go to the Small Business. It's SPA.gov, I think, but it says the Small Business Administration. You'll be able to find it that way. I've got it saved in my icon, so I just go click and I'm up there. There are workshops available, and there are also great things you can do online. So if you've never done a business plan before, let's say you're a sales representative and you need to do a business plan, you're looking for another job with another company, I highly advise you to go to that website. And it is really easy to use because it's a step-by-step process that you can use, step by step. And all you got to do basically is fill in the blanks. That's going to take some research on your end, okay? And you really want to take some time with this. Don't just like skip through it. You really want to put some time in. There may be some grants available that you could use that would help you. There could be a number of things that are happening. I know that, Small Business Association had some things going on for women-owned business a few months ago. And I didn't get involved in it. I may do it next year. But there are grants and things that are available for you if you're in a small business. I don't know as far as the PPP loans and those kinds of things that are available right now. I think those things are pretty much well played out. But going ahead and just make it a ritual, make it a weekly ritual. Let's say if Monday is your planning day for your business, every Monday I go to the SBA site and I look just to see if things are out there. And also going ahead and put your, you want to put your email address in there as well, because sometimes I get things that just kind of come into my email. And check your spam folder, because I've had some things put into the spam folder as well. But those things are available for you and to help you grow a business. And if you're in a crunch, you're looking for employees, let me tell you a good source. You got to go to our community college, Northeast Alabama Community College. And if you're living in another area, seek out your community colleges, because they have some great things that are out there. They're offering grants. They're getting all kinds of support. Even for high school students, the students can walk across the stage to get the high school diploma and also receive a certificate that night. And they have programs that are available that kids can go in ahead, I call them kids, but students can go in ahead and take while they're still in high school. And you can walk away with part of some college credit, walking across the stage at the same time, getting that high school diploma. So go ahead and check out your community college. The one we check out here is Alabama, our community college, Northeast Alabama Community College. They have some awesome things that are happening there. It's NACC.edu. So again, if you are a small business and you are definitely looking for employees, you need to go ahead and check them out. And also there are classes available. Let's say you're working for a company and you would just like to move up a little bit. You want to improve yourself. I used to work for GTE. And let me tell you what they had available, and a lot of companies do this. So all you've got to do is ask your employer, and I'll tell you this, as an employee, I'll have to tell you this, as an employee, I'm always tickled at, let me go ahead and promote, I think John's about to come in. Let's go ahead and promote him to panelist. As an employer, I was always very happy to have an employee who was happy to move themselves up. I mean, that was just like, okay, Karen, I may need to go ahead and unmute. Okay, and we're about to have our Alabama Secretary of State, John, come in. Hey, John, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, I can't see you, so you need to go on ahead and go to start video, and we'll get you. I've been talking about you.
Well, I hope it was good. There's enough bad being said.
I don't hear anything bad in my neck of the woods. Everybody up here loves you, John. We have our Alabama Secretary of State, John Merrill, with us right now. John, thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, great to be with you, Donna. We were just up that way last weekend, and then this weekend, too. We had a great time up in Jackson County. We were actually up near Section. We went to the Mennonite Farmers Market there in Section, had a great time, stopped at Wethington Park and went out and took a great picture of the Tennessee River there. You can see 3 states from that location. It's just a great place, and there's a lot of quality people up there in DeKalb and Jackson and Madison counties, as you know.
Absolutely. Well, John, you're going to be proud of me. I went through the class, and I'll be working at the voting polls tomorrow.
Oh, outstanding. That's great news. We're excited about that.
Absolutely. My grandmother worked, I don't know how many years, my entire life, she worked at the voting polls. So it's just kind of, stepping into her shoes as well. What are some tips you would like to give folks about voting day tomorrow?
Well, the main thing is be prepared when you go to the polls. Now, the polls will open at all 1,980 polling sites at 7 a.m. They'll close at 7 p.m. But we want to make sure that people know who's on their ballot when they go, so they won't have to spend so much time studying the ballot. And they can figure that out by getting a sample ballot at our website at alabamavotes.gov. They can also check out their voting status at that location or on the mobile app at Vote for Alabama, and they can see who those folks are. If they are inactive for some reason, Donna, they can reactivate their voter record there at their polling site just by filling out the voter update form, and that'll be very, very simple for them. And that's a good way to do it, just so they know that we're protecting the integrity, the security, and transparency of the process. That's why that's another step they have to go through, if that indeed is the case.
Absolutely. Well, John, we were just telling the folks that, as a matter of fact, you're on all kinds of TV stations right now as we speak. So we are actually on an awesome, which is on Roku and Apple TV, as well as Amazon Fire. And this is Abundant TV. So a lot of the states out there, and I've been bragging about you at this point, a lot of states, Alabama Secretary of States, have been coming actually to you for advice because of how our last election was run. And I mean, it's always going to be something going on. But
well, Donna, you're very kind to say that. Of course, Alabama was recognized after the 2020 election as the gold standard for election integrity by Concerned Women for Good Government, as well as the University of Southern California and the Heritage Foundation in Washington, D.C. So we take a lot of pride in that. And that's something that had never happened in the history of our state before the last administration of the election.
Absolutely. So, and let's get back to voting again. I've been talking with folks, and we still have some time. If you can't decide who you're going to vote for, you can still ask questions, right?
No doubt. And I would encourage all of your viewers to visit the websites and look at all the information available for each and every candidate for each one of the offices at the federal, at the state, and at the local level. So they'll be able to make an informed decision about the people that they choose to vote for tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to have to go into a commercial break in just a few seconds. What would you like to say to the folks before you leave?
Well, we just want to make sure that people know if they have any questions, they certainly can reach out to their local probate judge, but they can call our office at 334-242-7200, or they can call me on my cell at 334-328-2787. We'll be happy to help them and make sure that we meet their needs.
Well, I got one more question, and this is really important. This is for the folks who are working the polls. Okay, the polls open at 7. We're not supposed to get there at 7, right? If we're working the polls.
No. You'll get there between 6 and 6:15 to make sure that everything is in order. I think most of those polling officials are actually sworn in at 6:30 a.m.
Absolutely. So get up bright and early and get there, okay? Okay, John, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Donna. Great to see you as always.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and get ready for another break. Let's go ahead and talk about a couple of hours. So I think John, John's still there. But John, while you're still here, we're waiting on another guest. Oh, is he here? Okay, we have another guest coming in.
We'll
John,
see you
thank
later.
you. Thank you, John. Okay, Philip Gilliland, who is with the Cowboy Church, is with me right now. Hey, Philip, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I was enjoying listening to our friend John Merrill.
Oh, I know. He's been to every event you guys have had.
I know. He's a good guy, sure a good guy, and sure enough did a good job as our Secretary of State.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. He's had other states calling him to find out how we did it.
Yeah, I understand why. He's really a hard worker, and he's for the people. he has the state of Alabama in his heart.
He most certainly does. This is Philip Gillen, and he is with American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches. We're on Abundant TV right now.
I was watching it
as
on Abundant.
well as, isn't that awesome?
Oh, it was. It's great.
Rob Patz made this happen. So, Rob, thank you so much for being there for us. We definitely appreciate that. And I'll have to tell you this: I love the Cowboy Church.
Well, good, good.
I'm hooked.
Well, good. And it kind of does that. I think it doesn't matter which church you go to. They all kind of have a real sense of love about the atmosphere you walk in. You kind of sense that like you're right at home. And we hope that's the way it is. And people tell me that about all the churches, and
all of them.
I love to get that kind of feedback, because that's what Jesus said we're to do. We're to love one another. He gave us three things to do before he left this earth and was crucified. He said, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and soul and might. And the second is like the first, love your neighbor as yourself. And then he said, go make disciples. So these cowboy churches, I believe, are sharing the gospel and making disciples, and I'm thankful and for the opportunity I get to be a small part of it.
Well, you're a huge part of it. And but by the way, we talked about you Sunday.
Oh, where were you at Sunday? At Lookout Mountain?
I was at Lookout Mountain.
Good.
Well, you have a big event coming up.
We do this Sunday, and it's huge for us. I can't, I couldn't put it into words. You know, we just finished, or we're working on it, the last little cleanup of the new building to get it ready. And we're not going to be completely done, but there's a reason for doing the special dedication service this Sunday. Beginning at 5 o'clock, we have food that will be catered in there, and we're expected at least 200 people, maybe more.
201 and 2. Phil and I are going to be there as well.
Well, we're expecting you, and we have some people coming from 2 or 3
states. He's going to look me up if we don't come.
Oh, it'll be good. It'll be good, and it's so special because of the guys that have worked tirelessly on this building. Ladies too. Everybody has pitched in, and it's beautiful. I'm just going to tell you. It's beautiful.
I can hardly wait to see it.
It is. We had a ranch rodeo there, a qualifying ranch rodeo this past Saturday night, and a lot of people from other churches were there, and they went in and looked at it and said really nice and kind things about it. But it's a tribute to our Lord and Savior more than anything else, and this group of guys that were just amazing, that kind of took the lead in that area and made it happen. I mean, they grew in the process. I mean, they didn't realize it in the beginning, but it didn't take them long before everybody could watch their spiritual growth happening in the process. So it's been an awesome thing, and we're pretty excited about it. The reason why we're going ahead and maybe doing it just a little bit prematurely. Now our air conditioning is done, our sanctuary is
that's the number one thing, the air works.
Well, and
or the heat.
And our bathrooms are all hooked up, everything works there. We just have a few classrooms that are not completely finished, but I wanted to do it on the 5th Sunday. And the reason why is because before COVID, our churches gathered on the 5th Sunday of every month, and we had a joint worship service on the 5th Sunday night. And we moved it around, and we invited, the host pastor always chose somebody to speak, and sometimes we get people from some other state or anybody, who he felt led to choose to speak, he would choose. And so we hadn't done that very well since COVID, but I think this is a chance for us to springboard back. And the reason why that's important is to keep the barriers from coming up between our churches. And I think you've been to a couple of them, maybe, and then when you come to ours, that'll be at least 3. And I hope you see and feel the same atmosphere. And we we're all about taking down barriers that keep people from coming to church.
That's a huge common thread. And I'll tell you something I like. Because I remember when I was divorced, I didn't have a whole lot of money. And one time I had change and they were passing the plate around to fill it. You could hear it clank, clank, clank,
Yeah,
clank, clank.
yeah.
And so that was embarrassing on my end. I tried to be careful, but it just kind of made a lot of noise.
And we
So,
don't do that. We
yeah.
don't pass a plate around
Uh-huh.
for fear of embarrassing somebody.
Sure.
I mean, we keep a little barn in the back or a box or something, and people that want to give, or we want them to give. It's a biblical thing to give.
You're supposed to.
Yes, and thank goodness for the giving, because there's people that have given to this building in an incredible fashion. I can't believe. I mean, it blew me away. There's two things that I really got caught off guard with. One of them was the spiritual growth of the men doing this work, and then the giving of the people. It's just incredible. I mean,
There's something about giving. I mean, you
but
know,
people like to see you doing something, and I mean, the last several Sundays in both churches at the both services at the Trading Post, we do it at 9:30 and 11 o'clock, and for the last several Sundays, they've been pretty full. So people know that something's happening and something's coming, and man, we can't wait. We've got Brother Randall Stoner, who was has now retired as the director of missions. They call that new role an associational mission strategist. He'll be there, be one of the speakers. Brother Mike Foreman, the new AMS of the Baptists, will be there, and probably the guy from Tennessee Valley Association group, Brother Dwight Everett. I think he likely will be there, plus all our brothers and sisters from all these other churches that we hold dear to our heart. And Dixie High Road will be doing the music. So we're going to eat about 5 o'clock, and somewhere between 6 and 6:30 we'll get started with that worship. And here, I haven't told many people this, but I saved it just for today. What we're going to do is we have Brother Dwayne, who chops wood on the little man on the chuck wagon. Everybody in our church loves him. He's 89 years old. And he has worked as hard as anybody. And I mean, we have to get him off the ladder sometimes, because we've got some tall ladders, and we catch him up there, and we try to talk him down, because. But
and he listens to you, says, "Young whippersnapper."
Oh, he'll fuss at us. Yeah, he'll fuss at us. You leave me alone. Let me. But he helped us with this. One thing, we've got an 8-foot hewn out wood cross, and on the back of it, before we hang that cross up above the stage, we're going to have all the people who have come to salvation at the Trading Post or been baptized or both come and sign the back of that cross with a Sharpie. Yeah, and then we're going to hang all that up right there that night. So we're pretty excited about that, because we've had a lot of people that came, and maybe their kids came to our vacation Bible schools, and their family went to a traditional church, and that's great. But those kids wanted to be baptized in a horse trough, and guess what? We baptized them.
And we had one about 3 Sundays ago, and that's so awesome. So let's talk about that, how that happens. It was like a horse trough.
Well, it is a horse trough. It's a stock tank, and that's what we started using. And I've even had some of my friends in the little church I grew up at, Union Grove Baptist Church, just out from Albertville. They had somebody that was saved there and wanted to be baptized in a horse trough. Well, I loaded it on my trailer, carried it to one of my cousins, Bobby Cochran, up there, and he carried it to church, and they baptized him. And a few days later, he brought it back to me. So, it's kind of a neat thing to get baptized in a horse trough, I guess. I know I baptized both my little boys in one right there at the Trading Post, and I remember one time after one VBS, we baptized like 21 people. It was incredible. All these young kids, and it just, I just stand in awe sometimes of what God does. and in spite of me, he just does it. And that was one of those great times. And the new church will have the baptistry inside with hot and cold water, and it'll be up on a short podium, and then we can run hot water in. It's already plumbed in there, and you can you can drain it out afterward and just wait till the next time. But it's it's just cowboy church. I mean, that's what we do. And well, I'm so thankful for getting to this point, because we started there 13 years ago with 4 or 5 of us guys praying in the hall of a barn at one night, and here we are, a church of 150, and in moving into a new building, and things happen on God's time frame, and Lookout Mountain is the exception to everything, because it just blew up overnight. And it's
a huge crowd. I mean, it's just, and I'm gonna tell you something else I really love about the Cowboy Church is all the kids are encouraged to do things, and nobody has to beg them either.
no.
No, they'll say, okay, we're gonna have a kid. Well, they start charging up there. They really
Sing
enjoy
Happy
it.
Trails at the end.
Yes,
Yeah, we did that yesterday at Southern Cross. My number one music guy, which has been with me from the get-go, is Leon Venerable, and Leon's family came to Southern Cross yesterday, and what a blessing that was. Our lady that normally does it, Christy Rutherford, had some surgery, and it was right in a place where her guitar strap fit.
Whoa, yeah.
But anyway, Leon and them came, and we had a great time. But Leon and his family's been with me since we started it, and it's just to look and see all this. I'm concerned about myself when I look and see all these people, and I think I got some medicine for that, but I don't know if I got enough.
Let me tell you about Philip Gilwood. First of all, every major thing that I've decided I wanted to do, I prayed about it to God first, but then I go to you. And so we decided we wanted to start our own radio station.
Yes, I remember.
And, oh yeah. And so a little bit, I feel like it's something I need to do, but I had to talk to you first before I decided we are going to do it, because we're just such good friends. And me, Philip, and Philip.
Yeah.
So anyway, the first thing you did, and you must do this with everybody. So the first thing you did, you said, let's just go ahead and pray.
And I remember right where we were. We were at the Cattleman's Stampede in Scottsboro, and we were in that back room, and we just prayed.
Did I have that deer in the headlights look when I was telling you about it? I mean, or was I excited?
I think you were pretty excited.
Yeah. Okay.
But you had a look of concern about you. But I think.
Well, COVID had hit, and all this stuff had happened, and it was like, am I dumb for doing this? I mean, starting a business.
Yeah.
I mean, what am I thinking about? And so, but I mean, just thank you. Thank you for being with us.
Hey, thank y'all for helping us, and I want you to know that yours and Phil's friendship mean a ton to me. It's a blessing that, like I tell people all the time, that knife cuts both ways.
Yeah, it most certainly does. It most certainly. So let's talk about a few things about the Cowboy Church. We've got a guest coming in at 3:00. She's running for office, so I can't keep you on as long as I normally do.
That's all right. I'm good.
So, but let me say this: when you go to the Cowboy Church, there's just some kind of a freedom, and the people are just friendly. I mean,
well,
and
I
it's
think
it's a discipleship sort of.
It's because we're come as you are, and we don't have to start just on the exact right time. We usually don't, and we're usually not uptight about too much. And if there's kids running around and making a lot of noise, I just say praise the Lord.
Oh, I've got to break in and say this. I've been to churches before. My son was a regular boy. Okay, you know him.
I saw a picture of him outside.
What a boy! He was a terrible two. Well, a terrible two boy is going to make racket.
Oh my goodness!
You can pinch their leg off, and they're still going to make a bunch of racket in church. And he would make racket, and we might be at just a different church than we'd normally been going to. And people would look and stare and all this kind of stuff. And I would think, oh, I'm not going back here anymore. I feel a little uncomfortable. As a kid, and, they're going to make a little bit of a sound. It doesn't matter there.
No, people are wandering around drinking coffee, and And if they talk halfway through the first song, so be it.
By the way, if you didn't get there early and your stomach starts growling, it's okay. Nobody's going to hear it.
That's right. That's right. It's not so quiet you could hear a pin drop ever.
No, it's not.
And I counted the kids at Southern Cross. I think a week ago this past Sunday. I think there was 20-something small kids, not teenagers.
Nowadays.
I'm talking about under the age of the teen years, the little ones. And it just blew me away. We had that many, and I just say thank you, Lord. We've got a future in this church, because if you don't have kids, and I've been to a few traditional churches where there was 20 or 30 people, and all of them were my age, and there were no kids or young people, and I just draw up and say, ooh, man, someday that's unless something y'all need to get a revival, y'all need to have some young people come in here and have some babies, because, and thank the Lord, one of the things I asked for in the new church building, I only asked for a couple of things. I got way more than I asked for. But the guy, I wanted us to have a nursery, because I want us to have babies. I want us to always have babies in our church. So we have a nursery in the new building, and people won't have to, if they've got a little one that they want to hear a sermon, and we've got some incredible ladies that have raised kids and love kids. And if you don't think our folks love kids, you just have to come on a Wednesday night.
You got to go. You really do. But I wanted to say this, and I think that when a kid feels free, I think they can hear more. I think they can comprehend more. Now, when I say free, I'm not talking, they're not showing out. It's nothing like that. They just feel free.
Yeah.
And so they'll go up, and I've noticed them when there'll always be a little segment at the very first part of it where the kids go up there and somebody speaks to them and they start reading Bible verses and that kind of thing. But what I've noticed is they're going to look off. I mean, I do that, and I'm not even a kid. But what I mean is, for the most part, they sit there and they listen to everything. Yeah. But the person speaking to the kids always unites the kids. They feel they're part of the conversation.
There's not a kid. You might find one or two at Southern Cross. There's not a kid at the trading post I don't know their name. And I it's kind of hard sometimes, but I have done funerals for some of their family, and when they closed the casket or when people came around, I've had them kids, little kids, come up and stand right beside me. They've just come up and stand right. I've gone to the cemetery to do the closing remarks, and have a 4 or 5 year old little kid come stand right by me, and it just makes me feel like the Lord's with me. It gives me a sense of feeling, well, I know the Lord's with me, because if that kid is up next to me, I just feel like he's saying, I always remember the scripture. He said, let the little children come unto me. And when a kid does that, I always feel better. I always feel pretty secure.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. If kids or animals go to a person, that's a good person.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you that.
If you get I remember years ago when I went to work for the company that I worked for 35 years, one of the first questions they asked me, of course, you can't ask the same questions today that
it's a little different time.
But they asked me, said, do you like dogs and do you like kids? And that was kind of a big thing. And I knew why they were asking me. And of course I said yes. And I do. And I still have three dogs, and I still have 2 kids at home, so it's all good. It's all good.
Before you go, we have bees outside now.
Do you?
Yes,
yeah,
I'm so
that's
excited.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And I don't even wear Phil and I don't suit up either.
Oh yeah.
You just go right there in the middle of them.
Well, until you start taking their honey, then you might.
Then I'm going to suit up.
you might want to think.
And we're going to video that, by the way. You'll see it on Abundant TV. Now, a lot of folks don't know. I mean, this is Abundant TV. The first time you've been on Abundant TV,
right.
And so we got a lot of new listeners out there. So, what are some misconceptions about the Cowboy Church?
Well, I think people sometimes don't think we're really a church. I think people kind of think we're like a saddle club or a rodeo club that just meets on Sundays.
That's not true at all.
No, we worship. I mean, we worship. There's 4 churches in Marshall County that belong to the local Baptist Association. So, no, we worship. We read the Bible. We do small group Bible studies. I think that's where a lot of our growth has come from in our church. We've got better, healthier teams than we've ever had. We function by teams, and I think a lot of those teams that they were made up of people that came out of the small group Bible studies.
I think so too.
Am I running out of time?
No, you still got some time.
All right, but one other thing I wanted to mention is on June the 11th, which is a couple of weeks, we will have another 4-hymn youth rodeo, and it's for little kids up through to 18. And that we've already had one there. We've had one at Boaz. We've had one at Southern Cross, and the one last weekend at Boaz, it had 140 something kids there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's unbelievable. We and these kids are not pros, and they're not riding $20,000 horses. Most of them are kids that are just having the time of their life. Now, I love that. I do, and a lot of our outreach is accomplished in that arena. Of course, a lot of the rest of our outreach is accomplished with those chuck wagons, which you're very familiar with. So, that's we just do our outreach a lot different. We do the mechanical side of church. The model of the church is a lot different. But I think we've eliminated a lot of voting, which brings in a lot of division. So we don't vote on many things.
I saw the straw out there, and I thought, well, we're not going to argue about carpet here.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Well, the new church has concrete in it, but we'll have I've got some cow rugs some cowhide rugs we're throwing down there that Nikki Warren got for me back in January. I've had them in my office since then, waiting because I knew the price would do nothing but go up.
Oh, that's true.
So she got me a pretty good deal on them back in, I think it was January, and so I've just been sitting on them. But I'm anxious to get those out of my office and get them in that new church, and probably about Friday or Saturday of this week that'll happen. So. And the guys made me an office. I didn't ask for an office, but they made me a huge office there. So I'm kind of looking forward to putting a lot of the books I've got in that office.
Really nice.
I want to make them available to other people, and so it's exciting times for us.
Absolutely. About 2 minutes left in this segment. What would you like to tell the folks before we go?
I would say go live life. Please go vote tomorrow. That's an important thing. I can't think of nothing that this country needs worse than to turn back to God. I think we're just like the Israelites were when they were wandering 40 years in the wilderness. I don't think we're much different right now. We need to turn back to God. And that's what this country needs more than anything else.
Absolutely. Well, I'll have to tell you, I really enjoy going to the Cowboy Church. It's been
good.
It's been really awesome, and the people there, and just and so. But thank you for everything you've done You've done for us, and for praying for us. I can always tell. Well, I know when you're praying.
Y'all have been good to us too, incredibly good to us.
Okay, folks, thank you so much for watching Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio and Christ Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. Right. And by the way, Geraldine, Alabama is a small town. However, it's kind of big too.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Absolutely. Well, your son has a business.
Yeah, it's pretty special to me.
Absolutely. And thank you, Abundant TV, for letting us be also part of your lineup. We definitely appreciate that as well. We're going to go on ahead and close out. We have Robin Lideker coming with us, and she's actually on the ballot. And you saw her. She was at our music in the Geraldine Park, and she's running for Public Service Commission Place 2. She'll be with us in just a few minutes. Again, thank you so much for being with us. And Rob Patz, thank you again so much. We definitely appreciate it.
All right.
Recording stop.
I thought something was
wrong. He was so. But did I play it up okay?
Oh, it was fine. No, it was fine.
Because I started just talking about him and all the stuff.
No, it was fine. I was in there watching. It was great. I thought it was great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this.
Oh yes.
I can't believe it.
And it tells you right on there where you find this at. So.
Well, I've got this real neat program I've been using. And so, in case you guys ever decide to do something, I can show you how to use it.
Okay.
And it's called OBS, and what it allows me to do, instead of you remember the TV used to keep, I can go anywhere now and do a remote, and
Really?
there are my ads right there.
Is that an app or what is it?
It is part of this OBS program.
Oh, okay.
And it's a free program. It does not come with instructions. I had to figure it out on my own.
OBS. Huh?
Yeah, so I mean, I love it. It's awesome. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get ready for Robin. She's coming in. I'll go ahead and put Zoom
We think.
on her. But Phil and I will be there.
Okay. We'll be excited for you to be there, and it'll be a good time.
Thank you. Thank you for your prayers.
Oh, thank you. Y'all take care.
You too.
See you later. See you, brother.
Thanks. Have a great rest of the week. I look forward to seeing y'all. Yeah, we're going to try our best to get up there. That'd be great. All right. I sent it to her. She said, I got it. So.
Yeah, she sent a message. So I'll go ahead and get ready for her. I'm about to go into Zoom. I'm going to have to figure out why it's not popping up, though.
Yeah, it's not bringing everybody in.
It didn't bring anybody in except when he was sitting right here. Okay. Well, how did the clarity look?
Oh man, that's great. It's on TV. It was on the TV. So it's dynamite.
It didn't bring anybody in except when he was sitting right here. Okay. Well, how did the clarity look?
Oh man, that's great. It's on TV. It was on the TV. So it's dynamite.
So the OBS, nothing looks slow or fuzzy or.